Hi, I'm Angie and I'm here. When I'm not recording YouTube videos, I'm running a small chocolate business, a small bean to bar chocolate business. And during the past couple of weeks, I received a lot of questions about tempering chocolate. Why do we do it? What's all the fuss about? And so yeah, today I thought I would address all those questions that I received in the last couple of weeks and would show you how I temper chocolate by seeding. Now, I am a bean to bar chocolate maker, which means I usually don't temper that way, and more to that later. I haven't been tempering by seed since 2019, so I'm not sure if this is going to work out well. If I screw this up, I might need to hide in a cave for the next couple of weeks. But let's just see how this turns out. So firstly, why do we temper chocolate? Cacao beans are made out of a roughly 50% fat, and this fat is called cacao butter. So your chocolate, when we take a look at nutrition, is quite fatty. Now these fat molecules, they're big, they're quite chunky, and they're called triglycerides. That's how they look like. Don't get intimidated. I will not go deeper into it, but just if you're interested. So big molecules, okay? Now, let's say we're melting our chocolate, and those big fat molecules, they look like this. Like think of a pot of, cooked spaghetti, all chaos, okay? Now here's the thing, chocolate is polymorph. This means that the fats, they solidify at different temperatures, and that's why temperature is such a big deal in chocolate making. Let's say it's summer, you forgot your chocolate in your car, in the middle of the heat. Obviously your candy bar, your chocolate bar will melt, right? Then you put it back in the fridge to eat it later, but then you have some white stuff on top, right? So that's the cacao butter, that's the fat. And because the fat is lighter, it will just rise on top, and the sugar and the cacao solids, they rise lower. It's just like in your salad dressing, oil and vinegar, they just don't go together, the oil swims on top. What I mean with that, I'll show you. In case you can't quite picture it, so this is untempered chocolate. The white stuff, that's the cacao butter. The cute little circles, that's just a pattern it makes. Fun fact, I used to be a chemical engineer for paintings and coatings, and there's a similar thing happening there as well. It's a defect when pigments aren't stabilized. It is called Bernard's cells. I don't know how to properly translate it, but same thing. Okay, back to the topic. So, untempered chocolate. Not fun, and it is really crumbly, and it's not snappy, it's not glossy, it's dull. Still cute though. The cute little circles you saw in there, the untempered chocolate, also called bloom. There are two different kinds, sugar bloom and fat bloom, but we're not focusing on that today. We're focusing about tempering. So with the process called tempering, we're bringing our chocolate into a stable form, and it's like crisp and snappy and glossy, and it won't melt as easily in your hands. So with tempering, we're going from a pot of spaghetti to something like this. So we're aligning our fatty molecules. So our spaghettis take up way more space than this. And that's also the reason why your chocolate, when it's properly tempered, comes out super easily out of your polycarbonate molds. Because they shrink a little bit together, and they just, need less space. Now that we have that out of the way, how do we actually temper? As I already mentioned in the beginning, I want to show you how to temper by seed. There are different ways to temper chocolate, but that's just the most common, I think, method how to temper, so let's go into it. To help chocolate crystallize into the right form, we need to hit the right temperatures at the right time, and we need seed chocolate. And my seed chocolate, I have it here in my regular chocolate. I always get a question on what kind of chocolate I like to use. So I'm from Europe, so I'm going with the French. I like to use Verona chocolate. So this is a bag I bought in 2017, I think. So this chocolate is pretty old, but chocolate doesn't go bad super quickly because this is expensive. I totally get that, but I can only encourage you to spend money on chocolate because I think it's worth it. And yeah, I'm using Verona chocolate, the Caribe one, the 66% cacao. And I'm gonna use 600 grams of chocolate today. I would never melt less than 600 grams if you want to make chocolate bonbons or confections, simply because it's really hard to control the temperature if you have less chocolate. I know it's a lot of investment, but it just will make your life so much easier if you just have a little bit more chocolate here. And the nice thing about chocolate is it's very, very forgiving. So you can retemper and retemper and retemper again and again. You only screw it up if you burn it or if you get water into your chocolate and it seizes and curdles. But even then you can make a ganache out of it. So invest in good chocolate, that's just a recommendation. You do whatever you want. And there's one more thing. So depending on what kind of chocolate you're using, I'm using a dark chocolate. The temperatures will be different, but I have them, you know, stated somewhere in the video as well. And also I have the different temperatures listed in the description below. Just, yeah, if you wanna, you know, just quickly look something up. Yeah, so I'm using dark. One more thing, I know there's so much to talk about when it comes to chocolate. Okay, so why do I have different temperatures for dark chocolate or white chocolate? And that's the milk fat in there. So often you see skim milk is used in like a milk chocolate or a white chocolate, and that's because the fat molecules, they kind of blocking, where's my little drawing? Kind of blocking this, so they sit in between, right? And so that's why you have to hit different temperatures, and that's often why a milk chocolate or white chocolate is a little bit softer. It's still in temper, but you know, if there's something in between, it's just not as, the structure is just not as stable anymore. Still stable, but not as stable. And another thing, if your kitchen is super hot and humid, you will have a hard time to temper your chocolate properly. I woke up in the middle of the night for years because my kitchen was too hot. You just have to find ways, maybe an air conditioning, I don't know, maybe only make chocolate in the winter time, but this can definitely screw up your temper if your kitchen temperature is too high. Finally, we're getting there, okay? Thermometer. I don't like these stick-in ones because they're just not as accurate, and it's just way faster to use something like this. I have a link down below if you're interested. Chocolate, okay, I told you 600 grams. What I'm doing now is I'm separating out about 30%. So some people say 20%, some say 25%, some say it doesn't matter, just take a chunk off. I'm just going for 30%, which in my case is, what is it? 180 grams. If your chocolate looks like this, it's totally fine. It is not out of temper. I've heard some people saying that. They are just banged up. I told you those are from 2017, and so they just bang against each other in the bag. So this is not a sign that it's out of temper. They're just really scratched up. Okay, I will chop these as fine as I can because then later it's gonna be faster. While I'm chopping these, I will put this into my microwave for 3 minutes. Never done it with a microwave. In the past, I've been using a double boiler, so hot water goes in here and you cook it, and then you have the chocolate in this thing and you just melt it. But I think it takes way longer and is more complicated in the microwave, but we'll see. I have a link down below for these as well because they are handy. But yeah, I start with 3 minutes and then we see where we're at. Now let's take a look. Not all of my chocolate has melted yet, but the glass is really warm, so I think it will just melt now. So you don't have to melt until all the chunks are gone. You're melting until about 48, 50 degrees Celsius. I'm at 42 degrees Celsius, so I will put it in maybe for another 15 seconds. Alright, we're at 49. Just wanted to bring you a little bit closer to the action here. So we're at 49 degrees Celsius, which is good. So we have melted all the crystals now, and now I want to do a little test. So this is untempered, and I just want to show you later how it looks compared to the tempered one. Now we're adding all the seeds that you have chopped, well, as long as you were patient. And now we stir and melt all the chocolate chunks. This can take a while until we have reached the proper temperature, which is, for dark chocolate, about 31 degrees Celsius. And the stirring is really important as well because when we added the seed chocolate that were already aligned and tempered, those fatty molecules show the melted chocolate, the melted fatty molecules, they show them how to align. Let's say that. And so they have to meet each other, and that's why we have to stir. Oh my god, I hope this made sense. In my head it makes sense. Now while I'm stirring the next 5 minutes, I can tell you maybe a couple of helpful tips. If this is one of your first times tempering chocolate, I would recommend always doing a test if you have properly tempered your chocolate, because there's not a lot of things that are more frustrating than you're making a beautiful batch of chocolate, bonbons, whatever, and then your chocolate isn't properly tempered and everything is ruined. So yeah, I would recommend just checking, and you can just dip a knife into your chocolate, put it to the side when you think your chocolate is tempered, and if it sets within like 1-2 minutes and it's hard and it's set, it's good to go. If you want to make more than one mold, then you might run into the issue that your chocolate is cooling down and the temperature is dropping, and it shouldn't drop below like 35-30 degrees Celsius maybe, because otherwise your chocolate is out of temper and you have to restart again. So some people are using heating pads, you know, just to control and stabilize the temperature of your chocolate. I've tried that in the past and I was not a big fan. It didn't work well for me. So what I do is I'm checking temperatures, I want to say at least every minute when I do like a large batch. I just check and then I put it back into the microwave for maybe 10 seconds just to get to the right temperature, because usually we're talking 1, 2, 3 degrees, you know, up and down. So 10 seconds is usually plenty. It also depends on how much chocolate you're melting and tempering, but so that's how I do it. But like I mentioned, people are also using heating pads. There are also, I want to say, heat controlled bowls. I will have a photo just so you know what I'm talking about. And they will, I mean, obviously will keep your chocolate at a perfect temperature all the time. Yeah, let's check. Okay, still a good way to go. If you ever experience that your chocolate gets really thick, so it was you know, nice flowy, the viscosity was just how you want it to be, and then suddenly it gets too thick, then we have created too much of these. So that's also a possibility. So if you have too much of a good thing, it can also ruin it. Same thing here. If you have just too much actually those crystals are called beta 5 crystals. If you have too much of those in your chocolate, then you unfortunately have to remelt and temper again. So it's absolutely reversible. You just have to melt your chocolate up to the 50 degrees Celsius or 48, and you can retemper. 31. All right, let's make the other test. Okay, and that's it. I will let this test set for like maybe a minute or two, and then I will show you both and show you the differences. But now your chocolate is tempered, it has a working temperature. Keep it at around 31-32 degrees Celsius, and that's it. You can't see it too much yet. Maybe this one looks a little bit more shiny than this one here, but I hope you can hear it. Okay, not much happening, and it's really soft to the touch, you know. It melts super easily. Did you hear that? Okay, that sounded different than this, and that's why we temper. And that's the end of this video. So yeah, you know how it goes. If you have any questions, you let me know below. You can send me a DM on Instagram at Chocolatier. And good luck tempering.